today we're going to be talking about why most people stay stuck and don't even realize it. Okay, now this is predicated on three main topics. So the three main topics are self awareness, yeah, comfort zones, and unconscious habits. So these are the three main things that most people don't quite think about too much. And based on quite a lot of studies, so to speak, there is a sociologist called Charles Hooley who once said, I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. So if you just really think about what that actually means, in most cases, most people have gajillions of fears, right? The reasons why you end up staying stuck is loads of fears, and you're not aware of them, and you're thinking mostly about what other people think of you, and you think you are what other people think you are. In in simple terms, the fear itself is actually a fear of judgment. So starting off with the self-awareness part. Self-awareness is an element that most people think is just an obvious thing. We all know ourselves, right? I know me, you know yourself. And but quite a lot of people don't quite really understand how they operate. And it is recommended that you actually try to understand what your triggers are, the things that you actually, how you respond to certain aspects, what it is that you tend to go to, the type of people that you attract. And most people don't really self-reflect that way to have an understanding of their self-awareness, the things that works for them and the things that don't work for them. We all say we know what we want, right? But if we know what we want, why is it that we struggle to do the things that we actually want to do? Okay. Typical example, I want to lose weight. Why is it that we end up catching ourselves in a situation where it actually takes us the opposite direction? And it is recommended that you sort of look at yourself as if you're someone else, right? Look at yourself as if you're someone else. Try to understand the things that take you the opposite direction to where you say you want, take you the opposite direction to the environment that you're hoping for, the results that you're looking for. And that's the element of self-awareness. So firstly, what makes people stay where they are or get stuck is they don't actually have a bit of self-awareness, understanding of themselves, understanding the things that they can actually do, understanding the things that they can actually do to take them towards the area or the results that they're looking for. So that's the first part of it. The next part is to do with comfort zones. Okay. Now, this is a term that's actually thrown around willy-nilly. What does a comfort zone actually mean? I mean, it's actually within the description is within the term itself. It's a zone of comfort. It's the area that you feel comfortable in. It's familiarity. It's environments that you're familiar with that make you feel safe, so to speak. The things that you tend to go to feel comfortable. Okay, now the question would be, if there's a certain result you're looking for within yourself, is your comfort zone helping you to reach that outcome that you're looking for? So it's worth understanding what your comfort zones are. Are they in alignment to where you want to be? Are they in alignment to the outcomes that you're hoping for? Are they partly the problem that's keeping you where you don't want to be? Why do we stay stuck? Maybe it's because the comforts that we have, the zones of comforts, don't actually necessarily help us to go to where we want to be. So that's the next part about comfort zone. And the last part is unconscious habits. So there's the concept of the conscious and the unconscious. The decisions that we make, the daily decisions that we make, the things that we do that we term, I have to think about this, I am doing this because I am deciding to. That's mostly to do with your conscious side, the conscious habits, the things that you decide to do on a daily basis. But there's certain things that you do on a daily basis where you don't actually have to decide anymore because you've been doing it for so long, it becomes an unconscious habit. Okay, example is for people that drive a lot, they'll understand this aspect. There's times where you actually drive from A to B, a place that you've driven from and to for a long time, could be from work to home or from home to work. You probably remember some times where you actually get home or get to work and think, how did I actually get here? A lot of the things that you do, you no longer think about because you've done them so many times repeatedly. That becomes an unconscious habit. These are things that you do without having to think about them anymore. These are things that you don't actually decide to do. It's because you've done them so many times, they've been shifted to the unconscious side of your thinking brain, and you end up just doing them without actually thinking about it, right? So your unconscious habits have been fed by your conscious decisions, but let's think about whether your unconscious habits are actually helping you to reach the targets that you're looking for, to reach the outcomes that you're hoping for. So as we've talked about, we've got one is the self-awareness, the comfort zone, and the unconscious habits themselves. These three aspects are part of what helps you to get to where you want to be. So you're either going towards where you want to be or you're going away from where you actually want to be. Those three aspects are playing the biggest role. So it's not necessarily doom and gloom, as I've talked about. It's not necessarily a case of this is now stagnant. You can't actually change anything about what your self-awareness is, what your comfort zones are, and what your unconscious habits are. The important part, and I guess the saving grace, is the fact that there is something that you can actually do about it. There's stuff that you can change. So let's start off with the self-awareness. Okay. As mentioned earlier on, if you were to look at yourself as if you're someone else, treat yourself like a person that you care for. What is it about you that you think can be changed? What is it about you that you think is playing a part in going the wrong way? Okay, so think about anything that you're currently doing, the habits that you're actually taking on, that you've been on, that you think, I could do with not doing that. I don't think this is actually helping me in achieving what I want to achieve. Okay, so what are those things? Just look at yourself as if you're actually taking care of someone else, as if you're actually looking to give advice to someone that you really care for. What are those things? Let's have a bit of self-awareness. If there's certain things that you do, try to understand how you get to doing them, the triggers, the environment. What is it that actually leads you to that certain area? What is it that leads you to certain behaviors and decisions that you make that you don't think are ideal for you? And then start making changes. If it's a case of changing environments, then give that a try. Spend less time in the environments that you think are not necessarily conducive for you. Spend less time with the people that you believe are not necessarily helping you to do what it is that you're looking to do. Okay, so they usually say, if you don't want to slip, don't go where it's slippery. Right? So try to change the environments. There's certain things that you can start changing, and you'll be surprised if you were to look at yourself as if you're someone else that you care for and start listing the things that you think are not necessarily great for you and start making small changes. You'll be surprised how much you can actually make a big difference to what it is that you do. That's the first part of self-awareness and the other side of what it is that you can do to help. The next part is the comfort zone. Okay? So comfort zone, as mentioned, is your zone of comfort, but then question whether this zone of comfort is actually conducive for what it is that you're trying to achieve. Does it help you to get to where you want to be? Does it help you to create the outcomes that you're hoping for? Beauty about comfort zones is they can expand, they can shift. Okay, I'm comfortable in this environment. Give you an example of someone who's been working in a certain place, like in a company that they've been working for years, and they're comfortable in that environment. They know exactly where everything is, who everyone is, and what needs to be done on a daily basis. But deep down, they want to be a lot better. And they know deep down that for them to actually achieve more, to gain more skill, to attract better prospects, they're going to need to change the environment, i.e. potentially change their role within the company or change the company completely. Okay. Now, the idea of shifting yourself out of your zone of comfort, i.e., the role that this person is in, or the company that this person is in, the idea of shifting that is scary because you're moving outside of your comfort zone. You're moving into an area that you're not familiar with, and it can be scary and it feels unsafe. But the beauty of comfort zones is as soon as you expand your comfort zone or shift your comfort zone, the longer you stay in the new area or in the expansion, that becomes the new comfort zone. Okay? Because wherever it is that you're comfortable in now, once upon a time, it was brand new and it was scary. So that's the beauty of comfort zones. The idea is, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? Is my comfort zone helping me to achieve what I want to achieve? Therefore, can I change my comfort zone, create a new one? It may be scary to start with, it may be really unfamiliar, and it feels like something that I can't handle for a period of time, but that's temporary. The longer you stay in the new zone, it becomes the new comfort. And then it's about expanding that comfort zone constantly until you get to a point where the new comfort zone is actually conducive for the results that you're looking for. Ideal, that would be the ideal state. Now, the final part, which is the unconscious habits. As I mentioned earlier on, you've got the conscious and the unconscious. Some people say the conscious part of your brain is 20% and 80% is the unconscious, where you don't have to make decisions and things just happen without you actually thinking about them. The unconscious is actually fed by repeated aspects that you do in the conscious. Okay. So once upon a time, you had to think about everything that you do when you're driving. Okay. You remember looking in every mirror before you even start the car, put the seatbelt on, check everything out. And for those that drive manual cars, you'd understand you have to hit the clutch and then change the gears to number one to number two. Be conscious about everything that you do. But the longer you do that, the less you even think about what gears to change to. You probably don't even look at it anymore. It just happens automatically whilst you're looking at something else because you've done it so many times, it becomes an unconscious habit. It becomes an unconscious thought. You don't think about it, you don't put it in your conscious side of your brain. Now, the beauty of this is the ideal scenario is that the decisions or the habits that help you to achieve what you want to achieve, if they sit in the unconscious, that will be the ideal thing because without having to think about it, you're taking yourself where you want to go without having to think about it. The challenge is what most people will have is the conscious side of your brain wants to do something else, but then your decisions that you've had for years have told the unconscious to go a different way. And the unconscious habits are much stronger, which is why we tend to say that you need at least 66 days, and some people say 90 days to create a new habit, which means you need to start making the different decisions, the new decisions, repeatedly for up to 90 days before the unconscious brain or the unconscious habits start changing. And then you start doing things slightly different. So have a think about what those unconscious habits are that you currently have. Which ones are making the biggest difference in taking you the opposite direction? And then let's start with those ones and start making certain decisions on a daily basis, create new habits that challenge the old habits until eventually the unconscious habits are starting to be conducive to what it is that you're trying to achieve. Now, I hope this is something that will be helpful. And just what we wanted to talk about in summary is why people are stuck and they don't even realize it. And we broke it down to self-awareness, the comfort zones, and the unconscious habits. And I hope some of the information that we've shared today is going to be helpful. As always, please feel free to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're aware whenever a new video is released. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one.